You've just accessed Hardware is Forever, your source for the expert insights, ideas, and innovations you need to do more in the electronics manufacturing industry. From optimization to operations, join us as we put the pieces together for a better approach to manufacturing. Let's go.
This is Hardware is Forever. I'm Chris Bintliff. Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech. And we've got a really interesting conversation today, Jay. You have been a part of a process with Apple. Apple has an enterprise they've come up with, Apple Manufacturing Academy, kind of in collaboration with Michigan State University. And I think their mission or their purpose is to help small manufacturing companies, I guess, understand inefficiencies or where some best practices can be applied, or some of the things that Apple is famously great at. How can it help other American smaller companies be great at it? And Amtech has been part of this. And we were just laughing because you just sent me some images, and one of them is it's just Jay hanging out with Tim Cook, which is pretty great. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about this, Jay. How did you decide and sort of get Amtech in the space of this, and what has this experience been like from the start for you?
No, I think, I think I'm just Forrest Gumping through life.
That's the title of the podcast.
Yeah. So, but, in all seriousness, I think there's a lot of things that got us engaged with this and got this opportunity for us. Number one is Apple. They have no direct ROI on this at all. I don't see how they're going to be benefiting and how they're going to create values for the consumers or their shareholders by doing this. But they've had the grace to do something like this, which we really do appreciate. And I'll share that a little bit, my conversation with Tim Cook a little bit as well. And then second thing is, I think our team was really, really vigilant on always looking at different opportunities like this. We're always trying to engage with the community, either to get to become better and or to engage and share some of the things that we've learned. One thing is for sure is we're here because, we have a great sense of gratitude. And I think we're very, very aware that we're here because other people invested in us. Other people gave us guidance, gave us support, whether it is technical support, whether it's financial support, whether it's strategic support. And we're here because of that. And twofold. Like I said, we appreciate Apple, and then we also want to give back to the community in one way or another. And in our industry as well. And we've talked about how we do that. We work with Global Electronics Association, EMS Steering Committee, trying to drive different issues. We've gone to Washington D.C. to talk about how we can reindustrialize the United States, how to make it easier for small businesses. And I think that all has culminated into this opportunity. And one thing, really quickly, I told Tim Cook was that, and I told, meaning we were having a conversation, and we wanted to let him know that how we feel about this. And I think we told him one simple thing is to be human is to be grateful. And we just wanted to share at this moment. We're not going to get this opportunity before, ever again, to meet somebody like that. So we did share with them that, we appreciate what you're doing. We're grateful for it. And ultimately for us to be true human beings, we have to be grateful. And we kind of share that with them. I went into that day, and I'm focusing more on the day that we talked about Tim Cook, but we'll also bring it back to what we learned and what the purpose of the Apple Manufacturing Academy is. I told my kids, I didn't even know we were going to meet there. I think they were putting this event together. The Apple store opening was happening in Detroit, and I think there's just a confluence of events that happened all together. And a couple days before, Apple had reached out, say, we have this thing, we want you to come in, meet some executives, talk about Apple Manufacturing Academy. And, I told my kids, hey, I may be meeting Tim Cook today. And they're like, okay, Dad. And I thought, I went there, I met him, got the picture, showed my kids. I thought I came home a champion. And at the end of the day, dads are just dads. So I'm still the schmuck.
You're just the schmuck who hung out with Tim Cook for a while.
Yeah. So I think we'll always be schmucks in our kids' eyes. But
you know, it's really interesting that you kind of start with this tone of gratitude. And Jay is quoted in a Wired article. We'll make sure that the link is available that talks about this experience and Apple's Manufacturing Academy. And there's another leader quoted there who says, I can't find any strings attached. I think this is for Apple, it's part of an initiative, an investment in American manufacturing, like full stop. They're just trying to do something using their wealth of knowledge and expertise and experience to help others. When you started this process with them, and as you're quoted in the article here, you and your team have spent some time, and they're working to help you introduce sensors and analytics tools to reduce downtime, which I think is interesting because it connects to every other conversation we've ever had around all the things that you're trying to do. What has this experience been like for Amtech? I want to ask about you in a bit, but for Amtech, what's it been like to be kind of, I guess, a student in the room of, you know, a giant in this space of manufacturing? Regardless of what one's opinion is of Apple, they are manufacturing like supply chain Jedi. They are just extremely good at this kind of thing. What has that been like for your team to just kind of immerse yourselves in this way of thinking with Apple?
Yeah, I think, you know, just to take a step back from this is, you know, the announcement came out, you know, initially a press release was there that stated, you know, Apple's going to be launching a manufacturing academy in Detroit and investing in some other areas of manufacturing. And as soon as we found out about that, it was on our radar. And then we found out that we can apply for it. We applied for it, and they had their first 2-day manufacturing academy in downtown Detroit. The great thing was that it was a phenomenal learning experience, and it was part validation and part just opening our eyes to what kind of manufacturing processes and disciplines there are and manufacturing technologies they have out there. Frankly speaking, I was surprised. I was really surprised that more people did not jump on this. Like, you know, we're electronics manufacturing service provider, and we essentially, you know, Apple is an electronics product company, and they manufacture electronics products as their primary product. And like, we were the only ones there. So, which is great. I love it, you know, the more for us. But I think I was just really surprised that there weren't more people there. Especially now that we've had the experience with them, it's been phenomenal. So if you are a manufacturing company and you're looking to implement best practices, I mean, who better to learn from than Apple?
Yeah.
And, you know, like, for a couple things that are validation is some things that we were doing in here that we thought we were innovative, and some technologies that we had implemented and approaches that we had implemented and things that were in our roadmap. When we shared that with the process, when we went through all the breakout sessions and we had our one-on-ones with different people there who were, you know, talked about continuous improvement, AI vision, process improvement, and process engineering. You know, we got a lot of validation. Okay, we're on the right track of this. So, which was really cool. Like, okay, we're not the total crazy ones around here. You know, where we think a little bit differently than our peers, but it has been validated by Apple. And, you know, I said think different. You know, it's Apple, but like, you know, we just we're validated in that sense. And then some other things that Apple did in the manufacturing technologies that they implemented, the manufacturing processes they implemented, the way they design it, the way that they make changeovers from product line to product line, the manufacturing cycles, the way that they design their electronics. It was just, for us, I was just blown away. And, you know, that those 2 days were phenomenal. I mean, just to learn and get that type of validation, get that type of also knowledge. We had some great networking that were there. We met some great people, very intelligent people, had some good laughs, shared some good stories. And, you know, I think we learned a lot from each other, which was amazing.
Yeah, I'm curious about that next phase. So you had kind of this, intensive, and then what? It's been a lot of regular touch points through like screen share kind of thing, or how is this process? How does it logistically work for you?
So afterwards, they were, and I don't know why more companies didn't take it. Maybe they did. I don't know. I don't know how many companies did it, but like they were like, do you want us to help with any projects? And we were like, yeah, help us. Well, we're open. If you're willing to meet with us, we'll meet with us. I mean, we'll make time to do it. And we didn't really know what we're going to talk about, what we're going to work. But I think we wanted that opportunity to sit down and meet with the best and brightest and the innovators and just the gold standard of manufacturing, especially for our industry. They're like supply chain manufacturing, all the process, all the pain points, everything, all the automation, all the equipment, all the concepts are very, very similar. So we ended up having, scheduling a weekly meeting, and they just came and said, how can we help you out? So I had, the project manager for this on here. I had access to a process engineer that is specific for electronics manufacturing. So he really is the guy who helps design, part of the team that helps design the manufacturing processes for electronics at Apple. And they said, what do you want to work on? Let's work on it. And I said, well, initially we were like, okay, it's such a big thing and to do, and to say, okay, what do you need help with? And it's just like everything.
Right.
How do you say
like, where do I start? What don't I need help with?
So I think what we did is we went back as a team at Amtech and kind of talked about what do we want to do. And I think our objective was, how can Amtech provide services in a way that are technically robust and cost competitive in a global market, in the sense that if customers are looking at offshoring, how can we make it so then they think twice, where the cost delta is not as significant enough where it makes sense to go offshoring? So we said, okay, let's start with our reshoring, and let's start with the reshoring onshoring process. So that's what we started with. It's like, okay, if we wanted to commit ourselves to being that place where customers can come to and say, okay, Amtech is a place where they know what they're doing, they're robust, and their processes are designed so then they can be globally competitive and provide the same type of, quality, value, on-time delivery. Let's consider Amtech before going to low-cost countries.
Yeah.
And we started with that process, and we had weekly checkpoints. And then it got to a point where some of the things that we need to change and work on were not going to get done on a weekly basis. There were really no updates because there was a lot of just process development, design, implementation, feedback. Those loops were just happening. And I think Amtech had to throttle back meeting with them because we want to respect their time and what they're doing. So we actually throttled back because the amount of resources they were willing to give us, we were not able to utilize them properly.
Wow.
So it's just odd. It's just crazy. But like, we've been working on it. Every time we come up with, we want to validate an idea or come up with something new, we shoot an email, and response is great. They're talking to us and they're helping us brainstorm ideas and say, okay, with this idea, there's this type of risk. We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that. Or if you're going to do that, consider this when you're testing and validating it. And it's just like, wow, is this really happening? So I think it's been a great experience. And this goes back to all the things that we talked about is our culture, being the student of the industry, reaching out, networking, trying to learn, trying to give back. And people ask, does that work? Does it help? Well, I don't know if it works or helps, but at least I got a good story and I'm a better company because of it. I think we're getting results we didn't expect would be there. We didn't know that our efforts would yield in these type of opportunities and these experiences. But it has, and it's awesome.
Is it ongoing? So is there
absolutely.
And is there a finish line? Like, we'll be doing this until October, or how does it work?
Right now, they have not shared anything where there's, you have a finite number of resource hours and people you can meet with. They have not said anything like that. Now, as this gets more and more mature, as they have more, cohorts and sessions going through that, and they're reaching out with more people, maybe we're just early adopters, so we got a little bit of one-on-one. But outside of that, I don't think, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to, what their policy is or what they're going to say no, but I am definitely going to take advantage of it as long as I can.
It's interesting as you're describing. I mean, I have no idea what it's like for Apple or for their team, but to have an opportunity where the assignment is, please help these other people, please listen and then guide them, and it's almost maybe they get to flex a new part of their sort of their brain or their mind or their emotions to be like, well, this is interesting. We get to take what comes naturally for us or what we've worked so hard to create, and we get to share that with others and see the impact that it can have, these major sort of at scale things we do, when we can make them smaller or more easily understood or more digestible or more segmented. Look at the impact that can have. I bet there's a major, a pretty significant reward just internally for them to be like, this is really cool. We're really enjoying this experience. Do you feel like, as I know you to be a student of these things, it feels like that sense of gratitude that you started from creates a momentum where they're excited to provide and you're excited to receive, and that energy creates something really positive it's an intangible that makes it so that when you're sort of air quotes in the classroom, you just can't get enough. You're soaking it in, and they're so eager or excited to share it with you. Is that representative of the experience you're having?
So I think I don't know how they feel. I don't know how these people who are from the Bay Area enjoy getting on planes and driving to Detroit in the wintertime, or, whatever. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how much they enjoy it, but I do know that, when we're there, we try to bring that energy, we try to bring that engagement, we try to bring that appreciation. And I hope, we're getting a lot of positivity out of it. And I hope that they feel that they're doing the same. And I hope they feel like whatever efforts at a corporate level and as an individual level, they are making an impact. And if they don't know, I think the Apple team, top to bottom, should know that, they've made an impact with us.
I want to shift gears a little bit to you and your experience and maybe your conversation with Tim Cook. But before I do, are you, is this experience sort of aggregate? So every week or month or whatever it is, you're having a new conversation and you're advancing the discussion on where you are? And are you starting to see or realize some of those changes that you're making? Or at least you can see on the roadmap, like, well, this is how this is going to impact this. I don't necessarily think that we want you to share all of the inside stuff with us, but I do wonder if you feel like some things are changing over here at Amtech because of what we're learning.
Yeah, definitely the momentum is changing. The way that we approach, process improvements, process engineering, getting data, aggregating the data, analyzing the data, engaging with the customers on both the supply chain risk and the assembly risk, designing risk out of the product so we have a better quality product, easily more manufacturable product, introducing different manufacturing technologies that the customers may not be aware of to bring down costs and improve reliability. Those are all conversations and things that are happening actively with all of our customers right now.
Let's talk about what it was like for you when you had a conversation with Tim Cook. We can all be a little bit like starry-eyed, but as a CEO, meeting with maybe the most powerful CEO, that had to be, that's had to be a remarkable experience. What did you talk about? What was that like for you?
So I have to say, Tim Cook was, the conversation was great. Their whole executive team was there. And if I was in his position, I wouldn't even know what to talk to us about. It's like I play basketball, but I'm never going to be in the NBA. Like I'm barely getting out of my driveway. It's the same thing. Like I build electronics. But like,
what does Michael Jordan have to say to you? Right.
Yeah. So I have to say, like, the conversation with Tim, he was very warm, welcoming, inquisitive. I think, there was there was just a lot going on there. As you know, from the pictures and the videos and, the news, there was a lot of stuff. So it's like, I'm not used to those type of things. And he was just really nice, just talking to us. What do we do? We sent an example of the type of boards that we build here. He's just asking more about us. And we just, I said, we really appreciate what you're doing for us. And it was, he didn't come in, he really wanted to hear what we had to say. And he was really patient. So we do appreciate that. And that just goes for going back to, leadership of any type of organization. You have to have the right type of leaders. And I think Tim Cook's done a great job at Apple. And we got to experience a little bit of his leadership style directly.
Do you have a hope for how this goes? Like, do you have it would be amazing if kind of in your mind, or is it not like that? Is it something where each new conversation creates a new way of thinking about this sort of project as you're moving through it?
Yeah. So I think I really don't have, an end game to this. I think the end game is really up to us now. Like if Apple is a resource, how innovative can we be? How inquisitive can we be? And it's not necessarily Apple only. There's other people, but I think, our Amtech's destiny is tied to Amtech and its leadership only. So like we have our objectives, we have our goals, we have the things that we need to do to survive, and we have the things that are there to help us play the game of business and sport. And I think we've talked about that a little bit more. So, if I think we need to make sure that we have the destiny of Amtech in our own control. Now, are the Apples of the world and other people that we engage with and industries that we work with, are they our allies? Absolutely, they're our allies, and they will help us as much as they can. But ultimately, it's going to be up to us to get to the next level. So as long as they're ally and we have access to them, and even if one day they say, hey, we need to go on a different journey and we need to give this type of support to somebody else, I don't think it would be selfish of me to say, no, you cannot. I think if they say one day, hey, we did everything we can do with you, we got to make sure that these resources are available to everybody, and good luck. I would be perfectly fine with it. There are other people that they can, just as us, that they can invest in and make them better. So the end game there is really no end game. I think we're happy. We're very satisfied with the process and the engagement that we have with Apple. And if it ends tomorrow, I think we'd be happy and we'd be grateful the same way.
As we have had so many conversations, thinking about Deming's 14 points, which is awesome, but is an initial product of World War II. We've talked about game theory. We've talked about high mix, low volume. These are principles that are sort of, they have a steep tradition, and you have learned from these things. What you're doing now is very much present, like it's right now. It's with the company that is master of this space right now, and it's dealing with problems or issues or ideas or opportunities you have right now. Do you reflect on that? Like as a CEO who's always trying to learn, you found yourself in this position where the school you're going to is now being bolstered by the most modern, the most like contemporary way of thinking about this. Does that, I don't know, does that influence you or inspire you as a leader, as a CEO, as the direction setter for Amtech?
I think there's a couple things with that. One is we don't want to squander the opportunity. So there is a lot of pressure we put on ourselves, and maybe not enough, but to make sure that we utilize, the graciousness of the entire Apple organization to make us better. So it's there. And then when you sit back and think about it, it's just like, wow, like we are like, who are we working with?
Right.
This opportunity. And that's why I say I just kind of Forrest Gumped ourselves into this. It's just like, if we would have put on our vision board and manifested this, I don't think this would have happened.
I know.
But it did happen, and we're really grateful for it. And I think we're really, really aware of the opportunity that we have, and we're trying to do the best we can with it while respecting Apple and other people who are trying to get the same type of guidance.
Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech. Tim Cook is the CEO at Apple. Jay can be found at buildamtech.com, he and his team. And we'll share some images and a link to the Wired story and other assets that we have to share to kind of help tell this more complete story. And Jay, obviously, we want to know how it continues to go. So let's revisit this, in some time and see how your learning is going, how the operation is changing, or how the collaboration is going. It's all very interesting, and it's coming at an interesting time for you in Amtech. And I'm excited for you, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about it as you continue.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers and followers. Consider becoming one today wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Hardware is Forever is designed, tested, engineered, and built by the manufacturing experts at Amtech. Learn more and let us help you envision your next project with a free Design for Manufacturing assessment at buildamtech.com/DFM.